Thanks for tuning into our podcast, Getting Down to Business. I'm Jill Brown, Academic and Career Advisor with the Movement College of Business.
And I'm Ashley Curtis, Career Counselor and Internship Coordinator. We're so excited to bring you another episode where we're focusing on internships, making connections, and leadership skills.
And today we're going to get down to business with two admissions counselors, and I'll let them introduce themselves and a little bit about your role with the office.
Yeah, so my name is Kason Watson. I'm an admissions recruiter advisor. I'm here at USF St. Pete. I'm actually a USF St. Pete alum. I've been with USF for about 5 years now, and the admissions office generally covers the process of the application up until the student is admitted, and then we kind of hand them off to the other departments to go from there. But my territory is Pinellas County, so I am a very local recruiter. I graduated from USF St. Pete. I graduated from Pinellas County High Schools, so working with the area that I actually live in and grew up in is actually pretty cool.
Great. Yeah, my name is Noah Miller. I'm also an admissions recruiter advisor along with Kason, based on the St. Pete campus, but we recruit for all three. So I am also a USF alum. I was an out-of-state transfer. Started working at USF first within academic advising and then switched over to admissions about a year ago. And yeah, we're really just here to help students in any way possible within the application. And we're excited to talk to you today.
Awesome. We're so excited to have you all and excited to dive in. But before we get down to business, Jill and I always love to get to know our guests. So we're going to do a quick round rapid fire with you. Noah, I'll start with you.
Sure.
What is your favorite comfort food?
Oh, that's a great question. Quesadillas.
Ooh, yeah. Kason?
Mangoes? I love fruit.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
Do you do dried mangoes?
Absolutely not. I'm
Yeah.
Jamaican. We do mango straight off the tree.
No, I get that. I was in the grocery store the other day and I was like, what's the point? You lose the juice.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I love mangoes. I'm excited about that answer. Okay.
That's funny.
I'm going to ask you both, what's your go-to workout to de-stress?
Oh, I've been going to the gym a lot lately, and right now it's running 3 miles.
Okay. But indoors?
Indoors on
Yeah.
a treadmill,
I
yeah.
don't know why. I mean, it's only 110
Yeah,
out here,
my
but
gosh.
I'm
Just people that run outside, I don't know how they do it, but indoors on a
Okay.
treadmill, running 3 miles.
All right.
I'd probably say running as well. I actually haven't been running a little bit because I kind of hurt my knees. So I started lifting weights, and that's actually been really helping with my knees. So I'd love to get back to running. It's very
Okay.
cathartic.
I'm going to hook up with you two for a little running group.
Yeah.
After work. Okay.
If it's
Well-
indoors.
No, we're going to go outside, but it'll cool down. Maybe, by November.
At like 9 o'clock at night.
9.
Yeah.
And last question, latest Netflix or streaming Amazon Hulu binge?
Yeah, for me, it's been Modern Family.
Love
Been on the bench. I'm watching it for the first time, and it's so funny.
It
Love
is
it.
funny.
Kason?
Most recently, it was Black Mirror.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, that's
It's
also
really good. It's terrifying and also fascinating.
right.
Good
Good combination. Oh, thank you for playing. Now our listeners too get to know a little bit about you both. We're going to dive in. So what would you say is your number one reason, we'd like you both to answer, that students should choose USF?
Great question. That's our entire
I guess
job.
maybe that's the hardest hitting question right up front.
Well, my first answer that I always go with is research opportunities and opportunities to get involved outside of the classroom. Like personal experience with that, as I was a USF student, I was doing research with the chair of the psychology department. Every full-time faculty person is required to be active in their field. So there's so many opportunities for you to get that real world experience. Put that experience on your resume, not just you have a degree from USF, but you are also involved with like the Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, or you are involved in, some sort of firm downtown. So there's a lot of opportunities at USF for outside of the classroom, real world experience that'll really make you competitive later on.
And that is one of our focus with this too, and resumes and building your resume from the start. So nice.
I would say that one of the things I think the USF system does really well is that you have the option to kind of get multiple different experiences within USF. So, for example, I think it's really important for students that when they're looking at a college or university to get on campus, do campus visits, and see what is going to make you feel like you belong at that institution. And you have the opportunity to have like the large big traditional institution feel at Tampa, but you also have the opportunity to have more community-based campuses with, lots more resources, things like that at the St. Pete or Sarasota campus. So you have the option to be like, hey, I want to go to the football game and experience kind of like that college life kind of thing, or I want to be at a campus where all my professors know who I am. So you have the best of both worlds in that way.
And you still have access regardless of the campus to
Exactly.
attend any facility, any event.
Any class,
Right.
anything.
Right.
So there's certain students who are like, oh, I heard this professor was really great, but he's on a different campus. Take that class.
Right,
So,
right.
Yeah. Expanding on Jill's question, what value, Kaysen, I'll start with you. What value does a USF degree bring to a student's career?
I feel as though, the degree in general is invaluable. I think that USF does a very good job of partnering with local organizations and institutions, things like that. So students have the opportunity to kind of get involved in their local area. And there's plenty of internship opportunities. Research is, like Noah said, is really, really great. So there's a lot of chances for you to actually do hands-on work. So it's not a situation where you're stuck in a classroom all the time. You have the opportunity to actually get out and do the work that you want to do when you graduate, like while you're still in school.
Yeah, and USF is one of the fastest rising institutions. When when a employer sees that you have a degree from USF, that means a lot. Especially being a preeminent research institution. And we were just recently inducted into the AAU, the American Association of Universities.
That's correct.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
Yes. It's very exciting.
So yes, exciting time for USF, but when employers see a degree from USF, they know that you're coming from a well-respected institution and you have a solid base for you to start with. They know exactly what that degree is at USF.
Yeah. And I think that's very reflective of the faculty that we have
True.
leading all of our classes, like world-renowned faculty.
And I know just with the College of Business, our accreditation, that speaks to students too when they're looking and when they're moving beyond the undergrad to grad and master's level programs too, or doctorate level, having dual accreditation like we do in the College of Business, which is SEX as well as AACSB. You already kind of touched on this topic, but if you don't mind maybe going into a little more specifics for students, because you talked about the different campuses, right? And our question for the listeners so they can figure out what to do too is how do they find their best fit with with each campus? What should they do?
I honestly think that getting on campus is really important. If you have the opportunity to do a campus tour at all three campuses, one of the things that's really hard to kind of get across to students is getting on the campus is you'll get a feel.
See
how it feels.
Yeah,
you'll get a feel.
you really
and it's
do.
weird to say that you'll know when you get there, but you really will. And there's a lot of different events, open houses, things like that we do over the course of the year. Okay. So getting a chance to maybe possibly talk to a professor. There's different events that I know that we have open houses where you have like lectures from professors, things like that. And even getting into a classroom before you even apply is an option. So
Okay.
I think that getting on campus, doing the visits, doing the events is really, really helpful as far as selecting the campus.
Taking that time, basically. Would you like to add anything?
I couldn't agree more. Speaking from personal experience, when I first graduated, or when I graduated high school, I didn't do any college visits, and I just went off of the pamphlets. And then I chose an institution.
You're dating yourself.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. No, I truly just went off the pamphlets, and I went to an institution after a semester. I did not feel at home, and I would have found that out a lot sooner if I just stepped foot on campus even before applying. So yeah, really everything that Kaysen said, step onto campus. You'll really know if you feel at home, if you feel like you can connect with the resources or other students or faculty members. And it's really important with USF too, because, our Tampa campus is our largest campus, and that's what most people think of when they think of USF. But coming to the USF St. Pete campus, seeing everything that we have to offer, USF Sarasota Manatee, I always see students and families blown away when they step on our campus or Sarasota Manatee campus because they had no idea what we had to offer. So highly recommend doing a campus tour. And if you're interested in USF, touring at least 2 of the campuses so you get the different vibes and feels.
Yeah, that's a great recommendation.
And when they see the water here,
when they see a manatee or a dolphin.
Or a dolphin, yeah.
And they're like, do you have these trapped in the bay? No, we do not.
Yeah.
But I agree.
Yeah.
So open houses, a campus tour. What other types of events would you say though that are kind of signature with admissions? Receptions. I know that honors. You do receptions there.
So I want to give credit where it's due.
Mhm.
It's campus visitation on our campus.
Okay.
Yes.
Not us.
So there's a
But
whole separate department.
whole
that
separate department
specializes. I understand.
on our campus.
Gotcha.
And on the Tampa campus, it's all under admissions. Our campus is a little bit more separated, but we
Okay.
have strong partnerships where we're always helping campus visitation out. We will always be there. It'll always be a hands-on, like all hands on deck event,
Okay.
but we are not planning it. But yes, there is open house if you're interested in
Mhm.
applying to USF, seeing what we have to offer. That goes a lot deeper than a campus tour,
Right.
where you're meeting faculty at an open house or going in a mock lecture. There's also Admitted Students Day.
Mm.
So if you do apply to USF and are admitted, come to campus for our Admitted Students Day, you kind of get the day in the life of what it's like to be a USF student and see if you want to submit your deposit and become a USF student. So yeah, like campus visits, open house, Admitted Students Day. There's some brunches.
Scholars brunch
Yeah.
for
Mhm.
students that are scholarship eligible are invited to that event. So it's a little bit more kind of how showcasing our honors program, things like that.
Yeah, just keep an eye out on your email, your physical mail, and our website. You'll see all of our events posted. Any
Okay.
opportunity to come to USF, highly recommend it.
So they'll outreach to that office specifically, not admissions necessarily, or does it?
Either or,
Either or.
Okay.
We can always
Okay.
refer students.
Yeah.
Admissions is like a catch-all department. We always
That's
get
a-
like calls from
True.
all different
Financially,
areas. Yes, so
whatever.
everyone calls us, but we are
Yeah.
always happy to kind of like refer them to either we'll try to answer the questions the best we can, and if not, we can refer them to the department there where they need to
Yeah.
go to.
Right.
But the website's really, really helpful as far as like events and as well as. For the love of God, read your emails. We
Yeah.
send out so many emails and students miss information because they don't read the emails. So I can't.
They also have like 10
Emphasize.
emails. So who's
Yeah.
checking all those accounts?
Yeah,
Anyway,
true.
sorry.
So, for students who are interested in applying to USF, can you walk us through what does that application process look like?
Well, the application process is pretty straightforward for us. We have a merit-based system, meaning that we only look at a couple of things when a student applies. So there's like merit-based and holistic. Holistic is going to look at more information. They're going to look at like, your extracurriculars, probably going to look at some like academic resumes, essays, things like that. For us, with the merit-based system, we're only looking at the items for like your academics. So your high school transcript and then the SAT or ACT scores. So if we were looking at the application, you have a couple options. We have the Common App, and then we have the application on our website, and then the application fee that goes along with that. Then you can send us what's called the SSAR. It's the second time we're using it, I think this next year, is a self-reported high school transcript. So what that means is a student takes the information from their high school transcript and enters it into the SSAR, and they link it to their application, and that's how we like get the GPA calculation. The GPA calculation is a little bit different. It's, we do there's about 18 units required to graduate from the state of Florida. So we were doing the academic courses. So like I always say in my presentations, like let's say that you're taking like a weight training class. You're probably in way better shape than I am, but we're not including that in the GPA calculation because we're trying to see how you're going to do academically. So there's 18 units that are required. They're all listed on the website as well. And then we also look at, once again, the SAT or ACT. We don't have a preference between one or the other, but we do super score. So a lot of public institutions are going to super score, meaning they're going to take the highest score from each section every time you take the exam. And then we also do weight the GPA for the high school transcript information. Honors is a half point of weight, AP, IB, dual enrollment, and ACE Cambridge are a full point of weight. So it looks closer to a weighted GPA than an unweighted GPA, but it is really a recalculated GPA. So we don't include the non-academic courses.
We will outline every step of the way. So once you submit your application, you will have an application checklist where it tells you exactly what you still need to submit, what you may have submitted and is still processing, or what you've completed. So once you submit your application, definitely keep looking at your checklist. And one of the biggest misconceptions I see when going into high schools about our application is we are strictly just looking at test scores and high school GPA. We're not looking at essays or letters of recommendation. Feel free to submit them if you would like, but your decision is based off of your academic profile, your test scores, and your high school GPA.
Wonderful. Thanks.
And I was going to say, it's hard to bring up transfer students in the sense the application is still the same,
Yeah.
but their checklist would look different, correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. So for transfers, your application checklist will look different based off of how many credits
Mhm.
you've already earned.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're anywhere from 12 to 29 credits, your checklist is going to look pretty much the same as the freshman
Okay.
checklist. Once you reach 30, that's when we could possibly look at not looking at test scores.
Mm-hmm.
Once you reach 60, it's the simplest way to transfer, really. And
Really, yeah.
we're only looking at your college transcript, and we no longer want anything that happened in high school. So your checklist will only really have your application fee and your college transcript.
Okay. So it should be simplified for transfers. 60 plus is our kind of goal and recommendation a lot of times to make it smooth. And
That's the
then-
smoothest way.
Yeah. And so then it becomes your college record that's being looked at
Yeah.
only. Okay.
The
Okay.
main thing I will say with transfers
Mhm.
is that students sometimes don't understand that they need to send a transcript from every institution
Mhm.
they've attended. Sometimes what happens is like, oh, my, SPC transcript has all the credits from my other schools. Like, you need
Mhm.
to send us a transcript from every post-secondary institution you attended.
Yes.
And that's kind of the process for most public institutions.
Yeah.
But students get confused because they think, oh, the information's already on this other transcript.
Or especially
So-
if they go to a university.
exactly.
I see UCF has got their SPC and HCC or whatever,
Yeah.
AP, IB, all those credits. Everything has to be individually sent.
Yes.
Official
Original
score
copies from each original
right?
institution.
And I know it's a hassle for students, but that is what needs. And the faster
Mhm.
you do that, and if you put in those requests, it makes your life so much smoother for that transition. So,
Yes.
okay. So you already touched on this a tiny bit,
Mhm.
but I'd like to go a little deeper if you don't mind. You mentioned some misconceptions, I think both of you. So
Mhm.
with first time in college, beyond academic record being the only thing that we really look at, you
Mhm.
know, what else do you see with first time?
Like other misconceptions?
Mm-hmm.
That's a great question. One USF specific misconception
Mhm.
is that like the Tampa campus is where everything's at.
Yeah.
But there's still plenty of stuff happening
Oh my
on our
gosh.
other two campuses.
Agree.
Thinking about other misconceptions, really everything in your junior year, that's when like things matter the most.
Right. And
And
sometimes
so-
people don't get it together until senior and you're
Yes.
just like, oh.
Yes, so that's another misconception I come across in like high school fairs
Mhm.
where they're like talking about their senior year, and I'm like, we're really looking at like
Sophomore and
ninth
junior. You
through
really
11th
yeah.
grade. Senior year still matters, but for your decision,
Right.
we're looking at your first 3 years in high school. So that's a few misconceptions.
And
I
maybe
come
that
across.
tags on that you have to apply a year in advance. I
Yeah.
mean, you really do have to be prepared and making those visits early
Yes,
and starting that whole process.
that's a great point. Another misconception is that you can apply to USF whenever you want. Yeah, no. Our priority deadline is in November every year for freshmen,
Mhm.
and meeting that priority deadline is incredibly important.
It
After
is.
you apply, it becomes a lot more competitive to get in. Spaces are filling quickly, and then certain campuses reach capacity. So, huge misconception is that,
Mhm.
USF, I'll apply whenever. No, apply as soon as the application opens in August.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. In
Yes.
August. Okay.
Our application will open in August.
Mhm.
Keep an eye out on our website for specific dates.
For the next year.
Yes.
Right.
So like the August right before your senior year, the USF application opens.
Okay.
And then November of your senior year is our priority deadline.
Okay.
So perfect window to apply, August to November.
Mm-hmm. All right. So thinking about transfer students and misconceptions, what would you say?
Well, I would say that deadlines tend to be an issue for transfer students, especially if they're coming from a state college or community college, because the deadlines don't tend to be as strict as a university would be. So, for example, I know that at St. Petersburg College, our local state college here in Pinellas County, you can register for classes up until like a week
You can
before
apply
they start.
and register on the same day.
On the same, yeah, like,
Yeah.
and that's not going to happen at USF, right? Like we have deadlines that are like weeks before the start of the
Months.
term, months
Yes.
before the start of the term.
Yes.
So you need to make sure that when you're looking to apply, you check the institution, you check our website first,
Mhm.
and look at the deadline pages for our transfer students to see, I want to start in the fall. I need to submit an application before this term. I want to start here. I need to submit an application before this time. So it's really important to do your research initially. And I usually advise students that if you're looking to apply to an institution, especially if you're transferring, look at what the school that you want to go to is requiring first.
Yeah.
Make sure that you're doing the things that are in line with that process. Also, we get students that will just do an AA degree.
Mhm.
And if they're looking to do a major that is selective, you need to have the prerequisite courses done before you can be admitted to USF. So I get that a lot where students are like, oh, can I just do the prereqs at USF? It's like, no, you have to have them done before you can be admitted to the program. And the way that I explain that is, if you are a student that is coming to USF as a freshman, right? Let's say you're a business major as a freshman, right?
Mhm.
You would need to make sure that you are meeting the prerequisites before you can be essentially like going from
Mhm.
business
Pre-major.
to
Mhm.
that full major. So the same requirement that students that are here have to meet.
Right. Because
So-
they don't enter the college until their junior year.
Exactly.
So they're meeting those requirements within those first two, like a transfer.
Exactly.
Okay.
So there's a progression that needs to
Mhm.
happen. And a lot of those prerequisite classes are they're classes that are set so you can't take any other classes afterwards. So even
Right.
if you were, let's say they admit you to the program, they can't make a schedule
Right.
for you if the prereqs aren't done.
You can't
So that
take an
causes-
intermediate accounting without the financial manager.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So it creates an issue, and I know kind of why they set the standards the way that they do. So
Mhm.
make sure that you check the major requirements and selective major requirements well in advance of the process of trying to transfer.
And I would say for transfers, because I do work a lot with transfers, and even if you have your AA, that's great. Yay.
Mhm.
Finish those prereqs. And that's something you can still do at the state college, no problem. Save yourself some money. And the other piece is a lot of times I see where students finish their AA and then they apply and they've missed that
Oh,
deadline.
yeah. That's a huge misconception. Good point. Yes, you can apply before you've earned your AA with the expectation that you're earning your
Yes.
AA. Or even if you're not earning your AA, you apply while you're still in courses
Yes.
at your previous institution. A lot of times people miss a deadline because they thought, oh, I thought I had to wait
I had to get it.
till I finished my courses or I finished my AA degree before applying.
Yeah.
But no, we'll ask you, what are you expecting to
Mhm.
earn,
Mhm.
or what credits are you expecting to earn?
All right.
Love it. You guys have given us a lot of information today, which is amazing and really good for prospective students. I'm wondering if you each could give us 3 general tips to students to prepare for college. What would you give them?
Freshman students?
Either if you want to take FTIC and if you want to take transfer students.
Okay, I'll take freshman.
Okay.
3 steps to prepare. Take the SAT and ACT very seriously if you're looking at a state or like a state university in Florida, because that's a huge weight. So either take prep courses or buy a prep book and
Mhm.
just go through it a little bit weekly.
Practice exams.
Yes, it'll help a lot. Another thing, take honors level courses and above if you're able, because like Kason mentioned earlier, you will have extra weight added to your GPA if you take honors level courses and above. And then third, reach out to admissions counselors. We're here to help in any step in the process. I know that the college admission process for freshmen is very intimidating and there's a lot of different steps. So reach out to us. You can call us, visit us in the office, or email us, and we're happy to help with any questions that you have.
Great, thanks. And how about for transfer?
Yeah, so one of the biggest pieces of advice I give students, whether they're freshmen or transfers, is the internet's a thing. Like you can always look up any of the admission requirements, things like that. So in a general basic search, and I figured this out when I was doing a presentation that I was looking at multiple different institutions to kind of compare. Whatever the school is and admission requirements will almost always bring you to that admissions page for that school, or just admissions. So you'll type in USF admissions, will take you to our admissions page, and everything that I've told you about, like the admissions process, and Noah's mentioned about the admissions process, is going to be on that page in detail. deadlines, how we review the transcripts, things like that. Same thing for transfer students. So I highly encourage students to just look at the search USF transfer requirements, look at the transfer requirements, look at the deadlines, and then go through the selective majors. And a lot of times students will apply and not look at that information, and then they end up with issues with transferring because they don't have the prerequisite requirements that they need to be admitted. So that's the first thing, is make sure that you do your research first and foremost. Second is, if there's anything that you don't understand about the process, reach out to an admissions counselor, because we can kind of help facilitate some of those things, and do it before you go through the application process. Do it before you get into the weeds of being like, oh, I'm already in a program at this school and I'm taking classes which are the wrong classes, and you're going to end up in an issue afterwards. So just make sure that when you're thinking about it, do your general research, look at it, call us, and we'll kind of help facilitate that process. And I think the third thing that I would say is, make sure that you are kind of exploring the things that you're interested in, right? And it's really weird for me to say that when you're looking at a degree area in a college or a university, is, of course, we all want to get a job, but if you're not interested in the area that you're studying, you're probably not going to graduate in the first place. So I think it's really important to find something that you're interested in and passionate about studying. Do a little bit of self-exploration, kind of thing like, oh, I'm really into this or into that. Because at the end of the day, even if you do end up getting a degree in a subject area, the person that is interested in it or passionate about it is always going to outwork you.
I completely agree. I mean, I think we see that so often with students when we're having conversations with them, but we see that in the major where, maybe I meet with a marketing student and they say, I'm not really sure what track I want to go into, right? And I say, talk to someone, find out if, you're more interested in SEO marketing or digital marketing or social media marketing, right? Have conversations with those people early on. So that you get to figure out, what does a day in the life look like, right? What are some of the challenges you've experienced? Well, what was your major, right? Because sometimes, and I think for us, one of the biggest misconceptions is, I have to have a marketing major to do marketing, which is not true, right? Like before I got into higher education, I worked in marketing and I worked with people with all different types of degrees. So I think that's an excellent point to raise.
And I was going to say, USF does a great job, whether you're first time in college or transfer. As first time, we have scholars programs, mentoring programs where students can do mini internships, mentoring. So that exploration allows students to know before they get into that junior level. So we strongly encourage you to do that research you mentioned, see these programs, and again, meet those deadlines when you're applying to be a candidate. And then as a transfer, we're really talking internships right when you come. But if you could use your first 2 years, just like first time anywhere, to do an internship, because that is a huge focus with our program and helping students figure out, not just the college fit, but also a career fit.
Job searching. One of the things I discovered recently, and I was just having a conversation with a parent, and I think I was trying to kind of impart some information to her, and she wasn't. And so I looked at my K. Let's do a little basic job search. Your student is interested in this major. Let's just do a job search for jobs for people with a psychology major, right? And the variation of jobs that came up, just local, real people looking for people with this degree, like jobs, it was mind-blowing to me because students don't generally think about, like you were saying before, I have to have a marketing degree to work in marketing. That's not necessarily the case, right? Exactly. So see what jobs are available, and it's easy to find out. You have access to all the information you'll ever need to do that exploration. And you can see that, hey, I'm in this degree area. These are what actual jobs are available in my area for, marketing or whatever. I'm a psychology major, and you put me in front of an interview, I can give you multiple different reasons why my psychology degree would be good for whatever job I'm applying to. Because I love the subject matter. It was really fascinating to me, and I'm able to relate it in multiple different areas. So I think that the reason that I'm able to do what I do fairly well is because I was passionate in the area of study,
Mm.
and I'm now able to relate that to multiple different jobs.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, we have been kind of snickering and laughing throughout this episode because it's thundering, lightning, rain. Planes seem like they're landing on top of us. So in case anyone hears that, we appreciate you all being here so much. And I hope
course.
this can be a nice tool for students to also listen and figure out, okay, at least get a start. So 2 final questions we ask our guests. What's one, I would say, what's your best tip? I know we went over steps and this, but what would you say you want to leave, in the ears of a student for applying to USF, or why, or whatever you'd like to hit?
Well, I think one of the things that is really important that people overlook in general in life, I think, is that utilize the resources that are available to you.
Okay.
I don't know how often I have to emphasize to students, it's like you're going to USF or whatever institution that you're going to, there's all these different resources, tutoring, internships, like research, all of those things. And it's part of the tuition that you're paying. So take advantage of it. Take advantage of the resources that are available to you and use them to their maximum. Same thing when you're researching college universities. If you are in high school, guidance counselors. Some high schools I know locally have college and career counselors.
Mhm.
Some high schools have, just different people in the library that can help you. Utilize those resources. They're there for you to use. And I think that the difference between people that are really successful in certain areas versus people that are not is that people that are successful are able to utilize all the resources that they can to the maximum of
They're
their
taking
ability.
an initiative
Exactly.
to do that. How about you, Noah?
Yeah. My biggest piece of recommendation I want to leave people with is just reach out to recruiters.
Mhm.
We have recruiters all over the country, on all 3 campuses, all over the world. You have a recruiter based off of where you're coming from. So if you're in Hillsborough County, I'm most likely your recruiter. Even if you're coming from Pennsylvania, we have a recruiter that's stationed in New Jersey that will help you out. If you're coming from Australia, we have a recruiter that specializes in Australia. So you always have at least one person in your corner at USF, and the first person you should go to is your recruiter.
Mhm.
We'll help you out with really anything. And if we don't have the answer, we'll direct you to the right people. So don't let USF be intimidating, or don't think that you have to go through this on your own.
That's a big point.
Yeah, you have a recruiter in your corner that's really there to help you in any way possible. If you get admitted, we'll help you with the next steps. If by chance your application doesn't work out this time, we'll let you know how to make it work out in the future.
Nice. Plan B.
Yeah, exactly. So
Okay.
utilize your recruiter. Reach out to us at admissions@usf.edu. Give us a call. We'll get you in touch with the right people.
I was going to say that internships is a big thing with our podcast, but also connections. And
Mhm.
what you're both mentioning is making those important connections
Mhm.
right from the start. And that just really paves the way for a successful
Yeah.
start at USF.
Yeah, exactly. And like students, some of my students that I have good relationships with because they've contacted me multiple times and they like contact me just to give me updates, and they get admitted, and then throughout their first year they're having some sort of difficulty, and I'm the first person they go to, and then I can help them go to the right people. So it's really important to make those connections.
And we like that. I
Yeah.
love connecting with students.
Yeah, it's the best part of my job. for sure.
Exactly.
So speaking of connections, I know you gave us the main email, but if our listeners want to connect with either of you, what is the best way for them to connect with you?
So we can
Yeah.
sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. Well, if you want to call me directly, you can at 727-873-4002. Or if you email admissions@usf.edu, you can put Dear Noah or Dear Kaysen, and it'll be routed directly to us, even if you're maybe not in my territory. But if you want to talk to me, you can in those ways.
So my office number is 727-873-4984, and my email address, kwatson, KWATSON, at usf.edu. And as far as us as an office, we have a walk-in policy, right? There's always someone in the office Monday through Friday 9 to 5 that can talk to you about the admissions office, or about the admissions process. So if you are just happening to be like, in the area and you want to stop by, even if like I'm not available or Noah's not available, there is someone in the admissions office and we can all help you with the process. Right. So there's people that will just stop by. I was just walking by and stop by. And I like talking to people. I love the face-to-face interaction. I like engaging with people, and I like kind of like being able to show them stuff on like, the computers, things like that. So if you have a question and if you have a question and you want to like just stop by and chat with somebody, you can absolutely do that. And so there's multiple different ways to reach us, and we are always available.
I feel like that happens. We're a vacation destination. So people are on and they are like, oh, we didn't even know the campus. What? And then they wander on. So yes, stop by. You can see how engaging and excited they will be to meet and greet you and get you started on your journey.
I just want to thank you again on behalf of both Jill and I for being with us today. I think this has been really informative. Thank you to our Innovative Ed team for helping us record this podcast. Be sure to tune in for future episodes. We'll see you soon.